On this episode of ResiWeek, the first residential install of Samsung's The Wall is completed. Plus, Pure Wellness introduces a wellness app for integrators at Azione. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek, episode 193, Room to Dream.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Access Networks.
Welcome to ResiWeek. This is your weekly wrap-up of all the latest news and information for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv. And this week, I am pleased to be joined by my good longtime friend, Stephen Bronner. He is the president of Pro Audio Georgia. How you doing, bud?
And I am outstanding. It's a little rainy here, which is exactly what we need. I got the heavenly lights above me shining down on my shiny, bald head, and we're rocking this thing.
Don't you have anyone to get you powder? What the heck, rookie? Then we have my good friend Vin Bruno. He is the CEO of Areva. How are you, sir?
Oh, well, thank you. Happy to be here. And Stephen, we got sun today.
Yeah, we do.
I'm jealous.
It is a balmy 75 today, which is kind of shocking, but it's coming. And last but not least, we have Mike Grubb. He is the VP of Residential Solutions at Legrand. How are you, sir?
Doing great here in the Salt Lake area, but scenes of my visions back where I'm from.
Yeah, you guys are getting snow, aren't you?
Not cool. Well, actually, yeah, there's been a little dusting here and there, but nothing that is accumulating.
My son is all ready for that, just patiently awaiting ski season, which I keep telling him is like 2 months away still. But we will get there soon enough. I have no segue whatsoever to make this happen, so we are going to do it anyways. This first story of the day comes to us from CE Pro. The first U.S. residential install of Samsung's The Wall was just completed by integrator Just One Touch Audio Video out in Southern California in the Los Angeles area. If you don't know what The Wall is, one, you've obviously been living under a rock, not a wall. The Wall is Samsung's micro LED screen. Comes in multiple flavors and configurations as far as size, but this model is dedicated for residential, not commercial, where The Wall had its initial birth. This is a module-based bezel-less design that, as you go through the story, look at the pictures, you will see has a fantastic look to it. Stephen, I do want to start with you on this one. This is, as the article touched on and we mentioned, this is the first installation in the U.S. of this product. It's in a lovely home in L.A. One Touch says that they have 3 more pending installations, one for a Hollywood star, one for the lobby of a hotel, and one for a luxury mega yacht. Does this product's been out for a couple of years. As far as the concept of it, they've been shipping, the last little bit, we'll say. Does this prove that this technology is ready for, game time? This is ready to go. This is something that you as an integrator can look at and start to actually sell and want to sell. Does it prove that the concept for this product is there?
Does it prove that commercial has been doing this forever? So why is this such a surprise? Yeah, it absolutely proves that people doing commercial video are right, that you can build a wall out of tiles. I think Planar is probably sitting somewhere going, excuse me, hello, we've been doing this for a while. So yeah, it's really cool. Don't get me wrong. It's very cool. I've seen the product at CEDIA and just like everyone else. I will say that, just because you sold it to 3 people doesn't make it necessarily a viable product. Colorado VNet. I mean, we can go on and on and on. But what I will say.
Hold on. Did you just equate The Wall to Colorado VNet?
I'm shocked myself.
Heard me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I will say this. There are extreme luxury items that we sell in limited quantity in our industry. Our job is to sell an exquisite product to an executive clientele. So that's what someone has done. It's an exquisite product. At that price point, it's obviously an executive clientele. So do I think it's worth it? absolutely, if that's what you want to spend your money on. I think it's an incredible picture. I think that technology is really great. I love the way it looks. But like I said, it's interesting to me. I think that the biggest eye-opening thing to this is just how segmented part of our industry is. We talk about resi-mercial and people that cross over between the two, but here's a concept that's been around for, I don't know, a couple of decades. You
Yeah.
take small screens, you put them together to make a big screen. Commercial guys have got to be looking at this going, what's the big deal? And so when I saw it, I thought to myself the same thing. I remember when I designed a DNA helix out of planar square panels. They were bezel-less square panels. You put them together. You could build anything you wanted to. I designed a DNA helix. It was awesome. And I look at this and I go, what is the difference? And honestly, the only difference is it's being used in residential now. The guy says he's putting it into a hotel lobby, but wouldn't that be a product better suited for a product designed for commercial? I mean, are these designed for 24/7 operation?
Yes.
I,
100%.
okay. Yeah. So I wasn't aware. So my thing is I love it. I think it's a great idea. I love when people use crossover technologies. To me, it wasn't as big a deal because I've seen it for a decade in commercial. It just seemed a little weird to me how everybody's like, oh, the Samsung wall. And I'm looking at it going, oh, it's a video wall. That's great. Next.
Speaking of next, Vin,
Yeah.
my first takeaway with this is, we've seen this forever. I've been involved in the Avixa Infocom world just as long as I've been involved in Cedia. I get what Steven's saying, that this is a crossover product. This is something that isn't the concept of the principle of putting screens together to create a bigger image is not new. It's not. It's been around forever. And there's a lot of companies doing a good job with that. The project that we're looking at in this article is that multi-room or multi-use media room cinema concept. That's where you live these days. What is the pushback from projection to go micro LED or direct view LED? Where do you see this crossover happening?
I don't see the wall replacing your typical projector and screen. You get a much softer, brighter picture with a good Barco projector and same size or bigger screen. But I think today, Stephen, where the wall works for residential applications is the nice tight pixel pitch of 0.84. So that's overkill for the hotel. But I could tell you, when I was the director of marketing of Crestron, we went to several shows with a big planar walls up above our stages, and both at an Infocom show and a Cedia show. And lo and behold, each Cedia show that we presented that video wall above our stage, we had people actively looking to buy it. So,
now, what I find interesting about that is a sister product to this company is Samsung's Onyx, which they're starting to show in theaters, again, in LA, where it's replacing projection in a commercial environment. Does that enter into this conversation at all?
What you talking about, Lewis?
Yeah, I'd like to see like the grading, guys like John Bishop and Joel Silver, and getting their take on, and Peter Eilert, what do you think of that? To me, I find the micro LEDs a bit harsh, to sit for 2 hours plus to enjoy a movie. So, I think that the jury's still out and that the technology still needs to catch up to, that, not to mention the price. I mean, relative to projection and screen, it's interesting.
It is. Mike, one of the takeaways that was kind of an offshoot of the tech conversation here that I wanted to bring up, and you were the perfect person to ask. The integration company said that they're going to use this installation to highlight Samsung throughout its stores and use it to really promote Samsung in general, as well as 8K. When you look at that, see this article, see what they're talking about from a marketing standpoint, how do companies leverage literally one installation as this juggernaut from a marketing standpoint? Obviously, it's a super cool project, but they're talking about kind of going all in and using this one project as a, hey, look at what we can do. How do you learn to create that type of marketing pull off a single project?
Well, I think that, when you look at the project itself that they're trying to leverage, and they're using this as a platform to be able to market to their customer base in Southern California, it's keeping up with the Joneses. It's this new concept, and it's now providing options for people to upgrade, to change, to think about something in a different way. So I think that this is a great way to be able to leverage that.
Very, very good. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our next story of the day. This comes to us from a Residential Tech Today. Pure Wellness is introducing a home wellness platform to Azione members. This week, happening kind of right now in Seattle, is Azione's fall conference for all of its members, and Pure Wellness is a part of that. Essentially, what they're doing is Pure Wellness has an app, which I'm trying to find it's Wellness 365, or sorry, Pure 365. They're using it to help create and manage indoor air quality, monitor and control what's going on, and really let their customers know what's going on with that. Vin, I wanted to come back and start with you on this one. Wellness has obviously been the buzzword the last little bit. Julie's been full bore on it. There are a couple other really interesting companies that are really betting heavy on this. Your company is one that's kind of playing in that game as well. At CDA, you showed a wellness experience center that can double as a theater. Give us a bit of a background. You've been in the industry for a long time. You've seen this story kind of before, as far as niche products getting a lot of attention. Where do you see wellness going? Where do you see that, companies like Pure Wellness come in? I checked out their website. They've got some stuff, but they also don't have a lot of information there. It's that kind of world right now. Give us your take on that.
So everything we do at Reva is with best picture and sound. Okay. And so the whole thing about wellness and what Julie's talking about, and even the president of Pure Wellness described about, we were born to be outside, yet we're inside 90% of the time. So as a marketer, what I immediately did was trademarked outdoor simulator. So Reva offers an outdoor simulator, right, with best picture and sound in a wellness room. And it's got great potential. So at the pavilion, at the wellness pavilion at CDA Expo, Delos sponsored it, and they're a terrific, New York City-based company. So it's nice for me to, as a matter of fact, I think tomorrow I'm going to try and get into Delos's headquarters. They've got this very cool gravity chair. Okay. What I did not like somebody handling me, putting a heavy blanket on me, and then me having to, mask my eyes and listen to the sounds of the tropical rainforest. We at Reva can simulate that for you with best picture. So we can put you in the rainforest. And so at CD Expo, there was a couple that flew in from Seattle. This guy works for Amazon, and he came to me with plans. And so we talked about his theater, and then we started talking about wellness, and he gave me great advice. He said, go see the Four Seasons Hotel in Fiji. Mm-hmm. And I so happened to have our architect, he's traveling to India to build a Reva theater, to deploy one there. And I said, on your way back, go visit this wellness room. And these people actually extended their stay by an additional week to enjoy that wellness space, which they describe as like nothing you've ever seen before. And so what I want to do is I want to simulate that exact room. And then, for our clientele, they will put dedicated home theaters. They will put also a dedicated wellness room in the same home. So for Reva, it's an opportunity to extend our business in every home. And it's very cool. I mean, for our integrators that get to deploy this, again, it's not much more difficult than, than a typical, actually it's less difficult than a theater because you don't need the chairs. So our wellness spaces, when we draw them in with yoga mats, we draw them in with Peloton bikes so that you can actually, view, your ride on the big screen as opposed to the little screen. And I want to definitely make a deal with Delos on that gravity chair, but with nothing on me.
Very good. Mike, when you see this, one of the things that it reminds me of is kind of this channel, probably more accurately 10 years ago, where we were just starting to dabble into IT, and IT was really just that, yeah, we kind of do it if somebody really pushes for it, but it's not really our jam. I'm kind of seeing wellness sort of in the same vein a little bit, where it's new, it's fresh, everybody wants to be excited about it, but when you talk to integrators about it, they're much more kind of standoffish still. Where do you see this going? Do you see this becoming a mainstay for most integrators?
I think it can be, and I think that's where educating or making aware the integrators the simplicity of the concept. So if you start utilizing terms that are above their head, and we've done that in the industry, we've utilized the medical terms, circadian rhythm. We've used human-centric lighting. We've used some of those things, biophilic, those types of terms. I think that's where, because of the intimidation factor, I think of integrators stepping into that realm, I think that's where they have kind of stood back and watched where we can go with this. So I think that's part of it, is educating and making aware how you can enter and where you can start getting into those channels of whether it's lighting or it's sound or it's vision or it's water, it's air purification, all of those areas. I think that as a marketer as well, and getting together with the Vantage, which is part of the Grand AV team, looking at how can we simplify this, how can we demystify this, and utilizing terms like lighting for life. And that speaks volumes when you think about the circadian rhythm and the human-centric lighting, and being able to take somebody that may be a shut-in and providing them things like a lighting pattern that mimics the sunrise to the sunset in all phases throughout the day, things like that helps them be more aware of their surrounding, and if they can't be outside, to enjoy that.
Very good. Stephen, you and I have kind of been down sort of this road in a couple of applications. We both went to, Lutron lighting control training. We went through that, learning that whole concept of properly lighting spaces. We both managed to go to a Azione event that was all on renewable energy and all of the things that come with that. Wellness takes bits and pieces from all of that a little bit. When you see this, when you look at this, you're in Georgia, you've got a good mix of clientele. I know a fair amount about your business, and I don't want to get too into it, but you've got a good mix of clientele at different levels. Wellness, to me, currently is viable in ultra high end. I'm not seeing that story yet, and how it's applicable on the true term in the middle market. Where do you see this going? Do you see this easily expanding beyond middle market, or is it going to kind of go the DIY road, where all of a sudden we're on it and we can control it from the ultra high end, but very quickly some of those big companies, kind of like Vin alluded to, are looking at this, that all of a sudden they're going to jump in and that middle market's going to erode?
Yeah, this is going nowhere in the middle market. So there's several reasons why. The biggest thing is this is kind of technology you get in a great economy. Only people at the ultra top can do this. This is, you look at this, you're dedicating a room, or even if you share your theater, you're looking at the same. So you look at what Ben said, where you'll have a theater room and you'll have a wellness room. Mm-hmm. I've got a client that he owns enough cars. His State Farm insurance looks like a deck of cards. He likes exotics. That's what he does. and his Peloton is sitting in his bedroom in front of a 77-inch OLED. These people, this is literally what happens when people have too much money on their hands. This is only for the ultra high end, and it's only for a certain part of the country. Now, I like it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's cool to have a spot in your house where you go and you relax and you breathe and you become one with the yoga mat and all that good stuff. But the truth is that most people would rather have a 2-channel stereo listening area where they can go and they can enjoy, I don't know, some Peter Frampton or some Stevie Ray Vaughan or Run DMC, whatever your choice is, than they would have a whole room dedicated to developing your chi. I don't see it. Now, there is a market for this. It is the ultra high end. And one thing I love about Vincent is he's been in that ultra high end for so long. He has a feel on the pulse of that industry. He knows. So when Mr. Bruno says this is going to work in this market, it's going to work in that market, period. I don't care who you are. Put your money on it. But I can tell you that from someone who dwells kind of, I would say, in the market right below that, not the ultra high end, but I have some really high end clients, they're not going to do this. They're not going to do this because that room that you want them to dedicate right now is dedicated to cigars, or is dedicated to wine cellar, or is dedicated to something else. It's hard enough to get someone to do a dedicated home theater right now with TVs. A 77-inch OLED has a better picture quality than most people get on their projectors because they don't spend enough on the projectors. We agree there. Trust me. So, but the thing is,
in case you didn't know, Vin, you agreed there.
So the thing is that this is a really cool technology. And I think that what we need to take away from this is this is what happens whenever our industry is going so well that people can dream. This is awesome. This is a dream. This is something that people look at and go, if I could do anything in the world with technology, what would I do? I would make my entire life better. I would stimulate the outside. Think about it. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we were coming out of this nasty recession and everybody was worried about how are we even going to sell whole home audio. Now, the economy is so good, people are talking about, oh, I'm going to make it sunshine when I ride my Peloton bike inside. This is awesome. This is freaking incredible. But it's just like the ultra supercar that Toyota shows at the car show. You're not going to buy that supercar. You know what you're going to buy? You're going to buy a freaking Tundra. Why are you going to buy a Tundra? Because it's practical and that's what you're going to use, and people are going to use that. But do we like to look at the supercar? Of course we do. It's beautiful. So that's kind of how I look at this. I think it's neat. I think it's even funnier how into it Julie is. It's awesome. If you didn't see her tweet today, they got a picture of her in bed doing something, and she was like, "I'm not cheating on my husband." I love Julie today. I think she's awesome. So I can only imagine how awkward she felt in that bed. So that makes it even better. But I think that it's a great product. I think that if Vince said it's going to do it, it's going to do it in that ultra high end. But from someone who lives in that platform right below, I just don't see it penetrating outside that market.
So you know what is interesting about this? When you look at this event at Azione, they're introducing a purify air quality device. Does that now draw our world, our CEDIA community, into the world of plumbing and HVAC?
Well,
I know we need a robust network to manage and monitor these devices, but really the partnership is with plumbers.
Yeah, see, I don't see that. And here's the reason why. I know a lot of plumbers. As you can tell, I'm a little bit country. So I know a lot of tradesmen, just a smidge.
Yet you're not wearing flannel.
I know, isn't that crazy? So I know a lot of tradesmen, and I can tell you that one thing is just about unanimous. Plumbers don't want anything to do with what we do. They don't want to touch it. They're not into it. Plumbers don't like electrical. Electrical doesn't like plumbing. Framers and all this. Your different trades, people do those trades for a reason. So do I think we could work with a plumber to maybe do something with indoor air quality? Sure, if we completely design it and we say run a pipe from here to here, but we have to own it. And honestly, I don't want to own water. And the reason why is if my connection comes loose, maybe my speaker doesn't work. If a water pipe comes loose, I got a major insurance claim. So,
but hold on for 1 second though, because that's something that the industry has been kind of moving towards. We've got smart water valves that won one of the innovation awards at CEDIA. We've got wellness, we've got air quality, we've got lighting. We are very slowly, the only thing we haven't really hammered into, unless you're Erskine, is framing. We're pretty much touching every other part of the building process. If you want to get into it, if you want to have a hand on it, you can have that conversation of, yeah, so with your HVAC system, we need this purifier, not your little life breath that you normally use. You need this fancy dancy medical grade UV sterilizing, yada, yada, yada. At what point are we designing tech into every aspect of a build or a renovation?
Right now, if you're not touching every subsystem in the home, you're leaving money on the table.
Right.
That's a huge difference from what we're getting into, though. Touching a subsystem means talking to the HVAC company and making sure that you can integrate with their thermostats.
Right.
It is not going in and redoing where they put pipes and vents and all that. I've had guys come to me and say, what about these smart floor vents for HVAC that you can close and open and do zoned, all that? No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll pass. But once again, and I mean this completely, I will defer the ultra high end to guys like Mr. Bruno and Erskine and these other people all the time, because I understand, I know what I don't know, and I don't know that market. Richie is another one that can talk that market all day. I can talk the market right below that all day, but if it's a viable product for that part of the industry, it needs to be developed, because those people obviously need that service. It's no different than someone like, once again, you've got a Luxel product, but also you can go to Best Buy and buy whatever, Linksys or whatever. Does that mean that Luxel isn't needed? No, there's a place in the market for everybody and everything. I just don't feel like the wellness rooms are ever going to get outside of that ultra high end. And I'm going to tell you, if the recession takes another downturn, which eventually, if the economy takes a downturn, even a little one, you'll stop hearing about wellness rooms, because people will be focused again on technology that's applicable to everybody. But for the meantime, grow, baby, grow. I love hearing this new stuff.
Beautiful. All right, gentlemen, we are going to need to cut it there. Thanks again for joining us. Stephen, if people want to connect with you, learn more about Pro Audio Georgia, where can they do that?
Pro Audio _GA on Twitter. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can find me just about anywhere. Follow the hashtag Country Boy Smiling. That's usually going to be me. I know you're shocked. And you can catch me here on AVNation every 4, 5, 6, I don't know, every time they make a mistake and put me on the roster.
Pretty much what it is. Vin, thank you so much for joining us and putting up with Stephen's rantings, as I feel I always have to apologize. No. Vin, if people want to connect with you, learn more about all the cool, amazing stuff that you guys are doing over at Reva, where can they do that?
Just email me at vincent.bruno@reva.com. You can check out reva.com, and I'm all over LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook under Vincent Bruno.
Excellent. Thank you.
But you have to address him as Your Highness.
Your Highness. Well, yeah, very much so. Mr. Grubb, thank you so much for joining us again, my friend. If people want to connect with you, learn more about Legrand, where can they do that?
Great place to start is legrandav.com, and then from there you can link into or go to any one of the Legrand AV brands. And then Luxel specifically, you can find us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So we've got a lot of great things happening on the social media channels.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen, again for joining us. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Twitter at Matt D. Scott and pretty much every other social channel. But more importantly, please visit avnation.tv, where you'll find this show, as well as a wide variety of our other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take a moment to check out our supporters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you support them as well. This is my last week for this. So as a minor personal note, the CEDIA board of director elections are going on right now. They'll be going on through the end of the week. If you haven't voted, please get out and vote. I've been nominated again. Of course, I'd like you to vote for me, but at the very least, get out, vote, make your membership count for that, and I'd be very appreciative if you voted for Matt. But that's pretty much all the time we have for this episode. Thank you for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek.